welcome State Representative Pam Altendorf.
Thank you, Dale, and thank you everyone for coming out today, for everyone that is supporting Restore Minnesota. This is so important right now to be supporting our freedoms. I know a lot of you probably don't know me. I am new to this political world, and I think just to give you a little of the backstory, I was like many of you out there today. In 2020, I was very, very frustrated as I saw our world completely change. For the first time in our lives, we saw government tell us you didn't have a right to work. You didn't have a right to earn an income for your family. That was frustrating. I watched as churches were forced to be closed. I watched as the government told us that we could not attend funerals of our loved ones. That was frustrating. I watched our schools be closed, our children be masked. And that was frustrating. So I, like many of you, was frustrated. Running for a political office was nothing I ever really thought I was going to do. But I did pray. And I prayed that I could help be a part of the solution. In 2021, there was a group of us. We started a small group in Goodhue County. There was 5 of us. The government, the media makes us feel like we're alone. Makes us feel like we're the only person that feels this way. In a small group of us, I think it was 5 at first, we got together and we started to talk. And we realized we were not alone. And that group grew to 10, to 50, to 100, to over 300 people on our email list. And that was important. Because as we got together, week after week, one of our priorities was not to just talk. It was not to complain. It was to do actions. To actually make a difference locally. And that is something that every person can do. And I think that every person doesn't realize your power to do locally what you can do in your own area. We often look at elected officials that they are the answers, that they are the solutions, that they're going to come save us. And I'm telling you, it comes from you. And it starts locally. So some of the things that we did, we wrote letters to police officers, as you remember the defund the police movement. And we offered encouragement. We wrote letters and we made calls to legislators. We attended school board meetings. We attended city council meetings. And that is something that every one of you can be doing locally. Do not look to your elected officials to save you. As you saw this last session, we did not have the votes on some of these. The people have the power. During the session, one of the very first times that I actually saw a bill get removed was in my Education Finance Committee. There was a bill in there that was for the homeschoolers. And the homeschoolers showed up. They showed up and protested. I believe it was over 100, I don't know for sure. Homeschoolers. Moms, dads, kids, and they had signs. That apparently was enough to have them strip that out of the bill. The people have the power. The elected officials do not have the power in the state of Minnesota. The people have the power. And the sooner we learn that, and the sooner we start to get engaged, informed, and show up, we will be able to push back on some of these things that are happening in the state of Minnesota. So be an encouragement to others. One of the biggest problems right now, and it's not just in our state, but it's nationally, is our media. is running for profits. Our media no longer stands for truth. And that does not mean everyone. That does not mean that there's not good people out there that are trying. But in general, our media is not what we thought it was. And too many people still look to that and to believe that. We have to encourage people to have discernment. We have to encourage people to look to alternative media, to alternative news. And there are people coming up all over. And it's also very encouraging to see that the national news, many of them, their ratings are going down and down and down. So be encouraged, because people are waking up. But we need to be an encouragement to others for them to seek the truth. Something about me, in 2008, I had kidney cancer. And that really helped me live a life where I wanted to live with less chemicals. I was very concerned environmentally about what's in our home, what are we putting on our skin, what are we touching, what are we breathing. So that's something I've worked passionately about for it was 13 years when COVID hit. And when this vaccine came out, let's be clear. This was not FDA-approved vaccine. This was given an emergency use authorization for people to use. That is the truth, that is the fact, and we need to be very clear with that to every person. When I have lived for 13 years trying to strip chemicals out of our homes, out of our lives, how do you think I felt when we were supposed to put an experimental, never used before on humans, mRNA vaccine? No long-term studies, never before used on humans. And they asked the world to be a human experiment. They asked the world to be a human experiment. Those are the facts. We need to be very clear with our words, and we need to be talking to other people in a spiritual war. It's never been more clear before. Politically in the past, there have been times where I'm like, that's kind of gray. I could go either way on that one. I could see both sides of the argument on this issue. That's how I felt in the past. Right now, this is very black and white. This is very black and white. And people need to wake up. This is evil versus good. This is our freedoms versus not being free. When they ask us to mask our kids, when they ask us to not go to work, to not go to church, when they ask us to take an experimental vaccine, every one of those things cuts away at your freedom. Every one. And we have to stop. One more thing I just want to talk about real quick is, this is very well known in the psychology world. There's studies on conformity. I challenge you to look it up. There's studies showing that People are presented with an option even when they know it's wrong. That's what you need to know. They knew the answer was wrong. But if the majority of people chose that wrong thing, 70 to 80%, look it up, 70 to 80% of people will choose something that's wrong to conform. This is serious. People are good. People are good-hearted, and I believe so much in people. But in 2020, we were put under so much pressure. We were put under pressure from the media, from the government, from our businesses, from our friends, from our neighbors, from our family. To conform. 70 to 80% of people most likely conformed, even though they knew it was wrong. And I'm telling you this because as we move forward, we have to together say, never again. Never again.